And it's super easy. It's going to be really long. It was literally so simple. Keep going. You're going to end up with a beautiful holy coat or duster coat. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. So today is going to be part 2 to the series of making the holy coat, and today I actually wanted to do the video of printing your pattern, taping it together, and then cutting it out, and we're going to do it in that order. So there's a couple really important things that I want to share that you have to get right for the pattern, because the thing is, if your pattern is whack, your coat is going to be whack. You cannot expect to have a good coat if your pattern is messed up. So you have to be very precise with your pattern. You must make sure your printer is printing to scale. That's the first thing I want to talk about. Make sure it's printing to the correct scale, and I'm sorry if the light is going dimmer. It's because I'm using natural lighting. I have my windows open. But anyways, so make sure you are printing to scale. It is the most important thing. That is my daughter. Don't mind her. So make sure you're printing to scale. It's the most important thing. So that's so important, and there's actually a guide on the pattern that I'm going to go through with you that you can measure to make sure you printed it to scale. So that's honestly the most important piece of advice I can give you for printing your pattern. I'm going to go over it with you. I'm going to hop on my laptop really quick and go through the whole printing process, and I'll literally show you my printer, my everything, and yeah, and then we're going to go to the next step, which will be taping that baby together and then cutting it up. So alright, let's go right onto the computer. So here we go. I put myself in the bottom of the screen just because I thought that would be maybe like, I see tutorials like that, so I'm just like, okay, let me do that. Anyways, so here I have the email that Sewist sent to me, and this has it actually has download instructions right here, which I forgot to mention last time. What these do is this is literally instructions on how to sew it, but pattern instructions can be very whack sometimes. Like they're not at all beginner friendly. They assume that you know so many things basically. So that's why I don't necessarily recommend them to a beginner, but if you're familiar with sewing, then just go ahead and listen to those instructions. But I'm trying to make this video as beginner friendly as possible so that someone who's never ever made something before can successfully make a holy coat. Because I'm going to be honest with you, holy coats are not a beginner piece to work with, especially because they have lining, they've got buttons, they have princess seams, there's interfacing. I mean, interfacing isn't crazy hard, but it's just like maybe like a pillowcase would be something beginner, or a washcloth or something like that. So a coat is definitely not beginner friendly, and that's why I'm going to break it down and make it a beginner friendly piece. Because it really just comes down to how easy are these instructions to follow, because sewing within itself is not hard if you know how to do it, like if you know the techniques and things like that. So basically right now I'm here, sorry that was a lot of information, but now I'm here. I'm going to go to the design. This is my design. This is everything. The first thing I'm actually going to do, I have not hooked up my computer to the printer yet, which is something that I may want to do, so I'm going to do that really quick. I just have a USB. I'm going to put it into my computer, and I'll be right back. The first thing you're going to want to do while we're doing the screen recording, you just want to click on your design. Again, my daughter is crying. She's perfectly fine. She just wants me to open the door to let her in. Don't pay any attention. Okay, so file, print. Okay, and then this is my printer right here. Pages all, yeah, you want to make sure all pages, copies, that's saying one, that just means it's saying one copy of each page. More settings, here it says scale. Mine says default, and my default is the correct scale. So if you're not sure if your default is the correct scale, make sure that you just check your printer, you maybe Google it. So now I'm literally just going to click print. And we're going to see how that goes. So here it goes. They're all coming out. That is my printer. There's so many cords going on. It's actually my mother-in-law's printer that she let us borrow, which was nice. So it's printing tons and tons of pages. Just let it keep going, and then we will see what it looks like at the end. Okay, so the first things you're going to need are your pattern, and then you're going to need a measuring tape or ruler. You're going to need some tape. I'm actually going to need more than that, I feel like, but I don't know where the rest of it went. Scissors. I'm actually using kitchen scissors. And then you'll also need your phone or whatever you're using to show your guide that's in your email that they sent you for your pattern. Is going to help you to know what to do with your pieces, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, that's literally all you need to get started, and let's put this together. The first thing I want to go over is, how do you know if you printed your pattern correctly, that you printed it to scale? So this is what you do. There are inches on the bottom of this square, and then there are centimeters at the top. I'm just going to be using the inches. You take your measuring tape, your ruler, whatever you're doing. These are my inches. And I'm going to measure what they say is 1 inch to see, is it really an inch? Meaning, did I really print it to scale correctly? So let's see. I'm going to do my 1 inch. And yes, it lines up as 1 inch. So I'm going to take my hand off. As you can see, it lines up as 1 inch. And that means I printed it correctly. Alright. Now, it has some markings on here that talk about, this is the stitch line, this is seam allowance. I'm not really going to get into that in this video. I'm literally just going to help you cut it out and tape it together. Page 1 of 1, page 1 of 2, page 1 of 3. They all go in the same row. So we're going to do that. This pattern's going to get pretty long, so it is what it is. Here we go. Here we go. Now, there is a symbol on your paper. There we go. This right here is a scissor symbol, meaning cut this. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to cut that. So then it's just going to go on top, and you're going to match the pattern. Okay, and now the second page, page 1 of 2 has a symbol to cut right here. You cut this side. You leave everything else, but you cut this line off. So this piece is going to go on top of this piece. I'm not going to break down every single piece because once you see how it goes, then you'll get the hang of it. But yeah, I'm just going to throw those over there. And then this is going to go under. So you don't want to match it like this and tape it like that because there's this right here. You don't want that. They told you to cut it so that you could place it on top and then match it like this. So you want to make sure all your lines are matching on the top. And then it'll come down and it should match for the rest of the way too. It should fit perfectly. So like this looks pretty good. It's perfectly connected. It gives us that whole pattern piece. And yeah, so this would be the first row that it shows in our design. And again, I'll go here. There it is. Page 1 of 1, page 1 of 2, page 1 of 3. Let me focus on my phone. There it is. Just like that. It's correlating just like that. And yeah, so that's basically what you do for each and every one. I'm going to show myself doing it. I'm not really going to explain much more because that's basically the gist of all of it. But yeah, I'm just going to do a time lapse, probably something like that. And then you'll see everything goes together and it's super, super easy. All right, let's go. I realized here that there was a bit of out of focus going on with the footage, so I'm sorry about that if you're not able to focus so clearly on what I'm doing. But I wanted this section to kind of just be like what it looks like when you put everything together. It's honestly pretty easy. Like I was literally just cutting off the sides. And this made the process so easy because I'm not gonna lie, when I first cut out a printable pattern, I actually cut out each individual piece and I wasn't just cutting off the edges of the papers, and that took a long time. I'm telling you, that took like 2+ hours to do, but this took maybe like 45 minutes to 1 hour to tape everything together, cut off all the sides, and then cut out the entire shape of each piece. But the thing about this step that I wanted to talk about is that you want to make sure you do this very precisely, because it's so important that you have an accurate pattern so that you have an accurate coat. Because if you do mess up your pattern, it's not going to fit you correctly because the pattern was not correct. So it's okay to really take your time, you know, don't rush through this process basically. I know it can be really exciting and it's just one of those boring things you have to do for sewing, like cutting the pattern. You just want to get to sewing, you just want to see the end result, but just be patient with this step and make it as accurate as possible. When you're cutting the sides off, try to make it as straight as possible. When you are taping it together, make sure you're taping it together as accurately as possible with everything matching. And I also wanted to mention that for the tape you use, make sure you're using a tape that's not crazy sticky, because if you mess it up, you don't want to be tearing your paper. So I'm using this kind of like Scotch tape. It was Amazon Basics, and even when I messed up some pieces, I was able to peel it off without ripping off any paper, without tearing. And I recommend that you don't use something like duct tape or something like that, because it's just, even like moving tape can be really, really tough to get off, so you don't want to do that. So a lot of it was going in and out of focus here. I am so sorry. That is absolutely awful. But anyways, then that's my son Marlo. He came in and he was asking questions, blah, blah, blah. It's his little toes. But yeah, what I found was really effective for a workflow is that I just cut off the sides of each paper and then I put them all in a pile. And then I taped each row together horizontally, and then I taped it together vertically. So row after row after row, and that's what you see me doing in the video. Okay, so when you're done, it's going to be really long, just like that. That's all of it. It actually, I don't know how long it took me. I feel like it took me like 45 minutes to an hour to put all of it together. And I was making sure I was being really, really, really precise so that I did not mess anything up, because if you mess up your pattern, you're going to just forget about having a nice coat, because you're just going to mess it up no matter how well you follow the instructions. So yeah, that's everything. Can you say yay?
Yay.
Yay. Okay, so now here was the part of actually cutting out the pieces. I am sorry if the light is fluctuating throughout this video. I did not do all of this in one day. I do have 2 kids. I have a baby who's 1.5 and a boy who's 3.5. And I have another baby on the way. If you didn't have kids, you know what that's like, stopping and starting again, stopping, going again. So I did not get all of this done in one day. I had to stop and take care of my responsibilities and then come back and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, so this was really simple. You're really just cutting it out according to the pattern. And you want to make sure you don't cut off any lines or anything like that. You just want to be as careful as possible with this step as well. As far as the taping together, you want to be really careful, and when you cut it out, of course, you want to be really careful. And this is me in another outfit, as you can tell. It's another day, but yeah, so just go ahead and keep cutting, and yeah, if you have long scissors, that'll actually make this easier and quicker. My scissors weren't crazy long, but it would make the process faster if you had longer scissors. Just a quick tip. These are the pieces that you're going to have. I'm gonna try to show them bit by bit. You're gonna have this one, and then you're gonna have one sleeve like this. That's what it looks like when it is totally cut out. So I'm gonna put those two aside. You're gonna have this piece here. You need to go in your room, Marlo. You need to go somewhere else. You're gonna have this piece. It looks like that, pointy at the top, curving going down. These pieces are pretty long, as you can see. You're gonna have a piece that looks like this, really long. This is the front, and this is the placket right there. Then you're gonna have another piece that looks like this. That's what it looks like, all cut out and taped together. Oh, and there's also another one of these. So that's gonna go with the other one we had over here, right there. So now we have two of them. And then we have this one. So all in all, not a ton of pieces. And yeah, that's awesome. That's all the leftover stuff that I just totally cut off. And yeah. Okay, so that was literally it. We printed it out, we taped it together, and then we cut it out. It was literally so simple. Thank you everyone for watching. The next video is going to be cutting out your fabric, cutting out the interfacing, applying the interfacing, and putting all the markings on your fabric, all that type of thing. I honestly do recommend that you do that the day before you sew or sometime before you sew, because that part can honestly be just like, it's kind of just like boring, and you have to be really careful with it so that you cut out your fabric perfectly. For me, I personally recommend that you do that before the day that you start sewing, because it can just be a bit annoying, a bit tedious, and I find that my zeal to sew after I do that is just not so great. So you don't want to be sewing when you're super like bored or just, you know, a bit tired or exasperated from doing all that fabric stuff. So I recommend that you do that the day before. That's going to be the next video. We're going to be doing all of that, and then the next video after that, we're finally going to be sewing the holy coat, and I'll probably do a sewing machine tutorial, just like a few quick tips and tricks in the beginning of that video, so that it can just help out someone who maybe is just wondering how to use their sewing machine or what to do with their sewing machine, or just looking for some few beginner quick tips and tricks. So I just want to take this time to thank all of you for watching. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned. Make sure you like the video. If you have a question, comment it down below. Make sure you subscribe so that you get to stay up to date on every time a new video gets posted, every time a new holy coat video gets posted. And again, I didn't say it in the beginning of the video, but again, if you're not in the ministry for Princess and Holiness, you don't know what I'm talking about a holy coat. I'm talking about a duster coat. It's the scoop neck style duster coat, really long, very modest, very pretty, very elegant. And yeah, so we're going to be doing that one. So if you want to learn how to do a duster coat, this video is for you too. And this was a really beginner friendly video. I know some of you who may be experienced in sewing can just go ahead and skip this video, because you already know how to print and cut out a pattern and tape it together, whatever. But for those who have never done it before, I made this video for you so that it can be, again, as beginner friendly as possible. If I knew nothing, this is a video that I feel like would help me. So I decided to make it for you all so that you can make a perfect holy coat with no problem at all. Again, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of your views, and I really encourage you to keep going, not to get frustrated. You're going to end up with a beautiful holy coat, don't worry, or duster coat. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for part 3, and yeah, that's about it. God bless you all. Thank you so much. Bye. See you next time.